All right. Good morning, everybody. After a number of requests that came in after our original video, we've tested the P320s and tried to do whatever torture test we could give it to try to make the gun go off. The biggest feedback that we got is, well, this test wasn't valid because the trigger wasn't pulled to the wall and then the slide wiggled. Well, I'd like to go on record and say, well, this is dumb because you shouldn't be putting a finger on the trigger. But for the purpose of this video and for the purpose of the test, I will do that with two guns, not one. Two P320s, they're absolutely plain. There's nothing unusual about them. And these are some of the older models. These particular ones are made in 2018. All right, empty, empty. Okay, so that's one. And then two, we have an empty firearm. Nothing in the mag. All right, so nothing, empty. We have 4 brass casings where we've inserted the primer into them. I think this is the best way that we could simulate the gun going off. Okay, so I'm going to put 1 brass casing into the P320. Now, I'm trying to make this video uninterrupted so I don't have to edit anything. And yes, it is quite difficult to put it in without the bullet. Well, it's in, it's loaded. So let's do this again. Finger off the trigger. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle. And here's my trusty hammer again. Hit it, hit it, hit it. I mean, I don't know who would ever want to do this, but okay. Now, let's do the same thing with the finger on the trigger. I don't know how to do this, how to hold it. Finger on the trigger. You see I'm pushing it to the wall. Now it's on the wall. You have to be very careful because to go from the wall to actual hit is not that hard. So I'm on the wall. I'm wiggling, wiggling, wiggling. To be careful hitting the slide so I don't actually pull the trigger completely. Keeping the finger on the trigger. Watch. Okay? Nothing's happening. I'm hitting it. I'm doing this, I'm wiggling it. All right, do you want to see if the gun goes off? Now I'm going to pull the trigger completely. So I'm playing with it, not something I should be doing normally. All right, here. Getting to the wall. Okay, Ramon, I'm about to pull the trigger. All right, ready? So again, to the wall, now I'm pulling the trigger. Oh, look at that, it went off. Not unintentionally. I actually pulled the trigger. Let's get that round out. That's a spent cartridge. Let me load another one into a different gun. Okay. And yes, we do have customers calling. All right. Again, same test. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Okay, now the stupid test of pulling the trigger to the wall. So you could see, right? Pulling the trigger to the wall. Something I would never recommend anyone to do because to go from the wall to the end is not that hard. The gun does not go off. I can do this all day long. So if somebody can prove to me and show to me that it's doable, I would absolutely love to see that firearm. All right. I'm going to pull the trigger right now just to show that there was a live primer in there. There it is. All right. Now, with that being said, let me just show you the internal workings of a SIG P320. Why is it physically impossible for that gun to go off? If you could see here, you have the triggers here. When I pull on it, this part goes up. Okay? See how this thing is going up? Let's move it this way. There you go. You see how it actuates up. Now, if we look at the back of the slide, you have this sear right here. This sear gets depressed right here. This here gets depressed when the when the trigger gets pressed. So when you press on this. Now, up until the trigger is pressed and up until this sear gets actuated, this is your firing pin. The firing pin ain't going nowhere. I can press on the sear, trying to do this so the camera can see it. I'm going to depress this, and now watch what happens. Once I depress it, the firing pin actually moves forward. It allows me to do that. Here, you could see that. Once it goes up, the firing pin cannot go in there. It's a physical block that doesn't allow it to happen. Again, once the gun is in the resting phase, you see this? This only happens when you pull the trigger. If you try to get to a wall, it's very difficult to show on an unloaded gun that hasn't been cocked because there's no wall here. So, very, very difficult for me to show that. But more importantly, unless you pull the trigger to actuate that sear, to push on this lever right here, right there, that firing pin is not going anywhere. I hope this helps. I hope that alleviates any confusion. If somebody can show me the gun going off, I would love to see it. I would love to get the hands on that gun and take a look at it myself.